What's going on? How you doing? Welcome in. Big day ahead of us. Big day ahead of us now. Welcome, everybody. I am the Real Life Fake Wizard. If this stream brings you any value at all, I invite you to subscribe to this new channel where we're posting videos nearly every day. This is the Wizard's Coffee Break stream, Sunday afternoons. I hope you're hearing me loud and clear. And so the point of this stream is to really come on and talk about the ideas that I have had, the passing thoughts, the things that I may have written down and haven't really had time to flesh out and discuss those on air, vent them live with you and to you, and kind of turn it into a discussion. Both coming to kind of conclusions on our own, but then also seeing how we can integrate these ideas into the day-to-day. And today's is a doozy. Today's is wild. And today's is so, frankly, awfully bad that I don't want to do it alone. And so joining me here today, I'm going to bring him in right now, is Mr. Isaac Prentice of Prototopics Learn. Isaac, how we doing?
Wonderful. And in the meantime, I have given myself a name. I am the Real Life Corporate Wizard. So I will do this in tandem alongside. But yes, today is a doozy, and I did not want you to do this alone. There's a lot to talk about, and a heck of a lot going on.
Well, there we go. Shout out to you for coming on and making sure that I don't go so far off the deep end that that there's problems. So Isaac, you were actually, let's do a little introduction because I haven't seen you in a few weeks now.
Yes.
You look a little tan. What's the deal?
Yes, I was traveling. I was in France during a very unique time. They just had their election cycle. That made it very interesting because I was there when the vote happened. I was there to see a lot of the aftermath of how the citizens felt and everything in that way, which was great, very unique. Can't say I've ever been in a place where elections are happening other than the U.S., which is interesting.
Right.
But I was in Greece, and I was at the beach for a little while. So I'm not a vacation person most of the time, but this is a very unique time. I got back home less than 12 hours ago. So I am ready to go.
Oh, just in time for an assassination attempt on the United States president.
It happened on my flight back from France. So you sent me the message saying, I can't believe it. And I had no idea what happened yet. So welcome back to the U.S. Very trying times.
Very, very trying times indeed. Folks, today we are going to talk about the situation with Trump. There's going to be a lot of that happening right now at the top of the show. We're going to get into that. But then we're also going to talk about the Acolyte and Disney. And I actually want to get Isaac's input from the corporate perspective on some of the things going on with Disney. Not so much just ranting about Star Wars itself. There is a lot of Disney news. For instance, the Slack server of corporate Disney was leaked. Over a terabyte of vital Disney information featuring projects, names, social security numbers was hacked, seemingly, taken from Disney. I want to talk about that a little bit. We're also going to talk about the Real Game Awards. Our friends over at Side Scrollers made an announcement a few days ago that they are launching a company to compete with Jeff Keighley's The Game Awards. Mm-hmm. That is a fascinating idea. I'm excited to talk about that. We're going to play the trailer and talk through what Craig is saying that his operation is going to be doing. But let's go ahead and just jump right into the first thing that's on everybody's mind, that's sweeping the world right now, is that yesterday evening, an assassination attempt was made against the former president of the United States, Donald Trump. This is bad. This is bad. This is bad. Now, why is it bad? Well, firstly, people are dead.
Oh yeah,
people are dead. If you watch that clip, and I really do invite everyone to watch it, You can hear the first shot go off, and the second, and the third. One of them clearly nicks his ear. It's still being speculated on if a second one hit him in the chest, but photos and evidence, and we don't have all the facts yet. And I'm not going to pretend that I have all the facts. Neither do you. You don't have all the facts. So anybody who's trying to point these to facts when there's no way we have all the facts. Well, what I can say is terrifying. Watching that tape, the first 3 shots go off, and then you just hear bam, 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 where the guy is missed. He's missed, and he knows he's missed, so he just starts opening fire.
Mm-hmm.
And that, to me, is probably the most horrifying part, because it's at this point, the people in the crowd are getting hit.
Oh, yeah.
And you still have assholes online who are saying that, oh, this was staged, or this is not real, this is a false flag. Like people are dead. People are dead. There's no coming back from that. We're only just now getting names of the people who were injured. The bullets were hitting people and going into other people.
Yeah,
this is real. This isn't no Star Wars rant. This is real. There was a terror situation in the United States yesterday, and what's blowing my mind is how poorly thought out this entire thing was. No matter which way you look at it, all I see is absolute failure from all sides. The Secret Service failed. The gunman failed. The media failed. Everyone involved failed. And you know what it's going to lead to? More chaos in the United States. More chaos in the world will happen because of what happened yesterday. So, Isaac, what are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it was very unique for me because I came home after it happened, right? I landed maybe an hour or two after it had happened, and as everybody does, I immediately jumped on X and saw what was going on there. But I watched the video over and over again. We'll get into kind of like what the former president did immediately after the shots, probably later on, but it's sad to see. I mean, like you said, now they're coming out with names of people that were injured. I just saw before we started that the guy who passed away was a former fire chief for the town. He celebrated a birthday for his daughter, like within the last couple of days. And it's like, I mean, people take life for granted, right? And they say, I'll do that thing later, or they don't take time to tell the ones they love them or appreciate them. They let small little details get in the way of this stuff. Like, this really puts into perspective how quickly everything can be gone. I mean, the guy went to go and support, his representative, his presidential candidate that he was in favor of, and he died for it. And it's just a very scary thing. And like you said, it seems like failure along the way, top to bottom. 130 yards out, a football field away, that's 300 feet, 400 feet away, open access to a vantage point. Like if you've ever, I mean, we talk about video games, right? If you ever play Halo or Call of Duty, they say find the high ground. They openly left the high ground available with a direct line of access to the stage. Failure left to right.
We're not going to get into the speculation of what really happened, right? We're not going to get into, well, this is the person's motivate. We don't know that. We don't know all the names. We don't know the situation yet. All we know is what I described to you is the scenes of the gunshots happening. That's the only thing that I can describe is that horrifying moment. Yeah. There are more. There's investigations going to happen, and what's scary is you can't trust anything you see right now. Everybody is dropping their own speculations, so I don't want to do that. What I do want to talk about is those 3 failures, though, that I identified and really break those down. And so the first one I want to talk about is the shooter himself. You moron. You absolute moron. regardless of the situation, you've just created people that wouldn't have been radicalized to become radicalized. Violence is never the answer. Violence is not the solution. So let's assume for a moment that he doesn't like the president. Okay. A lot of people don't. Both presidents, the one running and the one that's in office now. It's run good candidates. This is a fundamental problem with the United States. Look around the world, around the country here. We run awful candidates.
Yeah.
And so your solution isn't to find better candidates, it's to resort to violence. Well, that's not going to win people to your side. Do you think you're going to get more people on your side? Like, what's the outcome of this? What in your mind, if this is what you think is good, how does this end for you with other than more violence? This is a no-win situation done by somebody who very, very likely has some kind of mental illness.
Yeah.
As anyone in that situation would. Like, you have to be insane to think that this was a good play, right? Like, let's just play the strategy out. All right. You've removed the Donald from the election. What happens now? With 4 months to go, what happens next? Nothing good.
Right.
Nothing good is nothing good is going to happen. You know what's going to happen? More violence.
Mm-hmm.
More violence. Yeah, I was on the phone and yesterday, and my brother comes in yelling and says, "They shot Trump. They shot Trump." We run over. We put the TV on. We got to watch as the media tried to spin the story into an incident or a loud noise or an accident happened.
They said he was frightened.
It's a fucking assassination attempt. It's an assassination attempt. They tried to murder him in front of the world. And I will get into that. But just like, let's just finish up with the actual shooter. This was a chess move. Really, truly awful chess move. No matter which way you play this out, it's an awful chess move because you've just made this hostile tension between two very angry affiliations of people even angrier. Mm-hmm. You've just made it worse. And look, anybody who knows Isaac and I are always very clear. We're not going to tell you who to vote for. I said this last week on the stream. It came up. We talking politics on the stream for a brief moment. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. The system's rigged, folks. The system is rigged. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, they're both bad. They're both corrupt. The both sides are just as bad. So we are not going to tell you, oh, well, you need to vote for so and so because of this reason, this reason. They're both crooked evil. Okay, this is just from a position of we want a peace. We want peace. I'll talk for me. I want world peace. That's what I want. People of all walks of life to be able to live together in whatever walks of life. Just go live your life. Be happy. Cohesion. The only thing I want is for you to get out of my wallet. That's it. That's it. Stay out of my wallet. You go do and live. You go live your best life. Go live your best life. Get your hands. Don't lay a finger on my butterfinger. That's all I want. Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough from my perspective too, because what you talked about was like the division, right? And we knew the division was there, and there are people that are for, there are people that are against, and like you said, I'll speak for both of us now since you've said your piece. We want peace. There is, the best way that I heard it put was someone talking about success, and they said there is an opportunity for everyone to be successful. There's enough for everyone to win. there's a way in the world in which everyone can be happy in their own respect. And it might not mean that it lines up you over here and me over here and we're exactly happy in the same way, but we can all find ways to be happy. One of the trending things on X yesterday, before they took it down, was how do you miss? If that's not division, that's like it's insane. And one of my, I hate to say favorite because it's such a bad topic, but one of my favorite videos that I saw was the guy who is yelling at the cameras. There's, MSNBC, yes. CNN is there. He says, it's your
Yes.
fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's like no one holds these companies accountable, right? And you and I talk about accountability all the time. If you and I mess up in something that we do, who do we point the finger at? We got to point it at ourselves. Exactly. It's our fault. We messed up.
You have to accept responsibility.
Now we have to look at like, okay, well, what led to this sequence of events? And I mean, it's like they say, if you call someone, I mean, they were making comparisons to some of the worst leaders the world has ever seen, or the most aggressive leaders the world has ever seen, saying that this former president is almost hand in hand with what they're doing. You're going to be inciting violence, regardless of whether or not you fall on one side or the other, violence will be incited. And that's the part that scares me.
I'm pulling up the chat here. I got to address these real quick before we keep going. Unfortunately, we can't get away from this conversation. So I just want to start off, Wolf, by saying we're not going to talk about this the whole time. That's why I want to open the show with this. Isaac and I have a lot to say on this topic that no one else is saying, and I think they should be saying. Mm-hmm. Everybody's just pushing the pieces away from each other. It's, well, we're more here, we're more there, we're more today. The country is more divided today than it has ever been. Mm-hmm. Which leads me to another one. I got to be on here. Mike says, I got to be honest, this is the most divided the country has been in my life. Yes.
Yeah.
You now have people on one side crying that there was an attempt on the former president, and you have people crying on the other side that it failed. We're living in a sick world, folks. We're living in a sick world. And I don't mean that hyperbole. No, there's sickness. There's a sickness going around. But playing off of what Isaac just said, because there's 2 points in there that are important. The first being that people, in a lot of ways, are almost glorifying that it happened. Mm-hmm. But let's play the other side of that. Folks, the media is not your friend. I just said Republicans and Democrats are not your friend. The media is not your friend either. See, everybody thinks, and I'm going to use this analogy. I had to think this through. Everybody thinks that it's just you're a MAGA supporter or you're going to pride rallies, right? Mm-hmm. That's the two factions in that. Like when you look at it from the very bare, like that's what a normie would say, right? That those are the two factions, even though that's not true. And let's further expand on that. That is so superficial because it goes 8 stories higher than that. The truth is that it goes up to the media conglomerates, and above that, the mega corporations that own them. And they're not your friends either.
Yeah.
They're not your friends either. So look, we're not going to tell you who to vote for. We're not going to tell you who to vote for. Who knows who's going to be on the ballots come November at this rate? They just tried to kill one of them yesterday. Mm-hmm. I hope that security detail is drastically increased for all candidates right now, including President Biden, because regardless of what, if people just saw this attempt on one, what's going to stop a retaliation? And then that's what the media is going to run with. This is everything about this is terrifying, and everybody should be alerted to a problem. This is the time to step back and look around and ask questions. Why are people so attached to whatever side they're on? Why are people so bought in forever unquestionably loyal to a political affiliation that would not care if they died today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people aren't talking about the poor dude that died enough. Yeah. Nobody's talking about it enough. Everyone should be talking about it, and it disappoints me that that's not the conversation.
Yeah,
the conversation is how do you miss rather than a family just exploded yesterday, like this. So my heart goes out to them. That's what matters. Yes, yeah. Biden, Trump, RFK Jr., and their running mates. Every person that's in this, you've just proven, is not getting enough protection. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to speculate on what the situation was. I do think, though, that everybody, all over the Secret Service leadership needs to be fired effective immediately. That's the best thing. Quit, step down. You have failed. You failed. You showed that this country does not have its shit together. You made us look weak. You got to step down.
Yep.
You made the Secret Service look embarrassing. The airport TSA looks stronger than the Secret Service today. You have failed. You have failed, and people are dead. You need to resign. You have failed, and people have died. So It makes me very upset.
I agree. I mean, and like you said, we don't want to talk about this topic the entire time, but after just in a sequence of events, right? A few weeks ago, the topic was how did the debate go for one side versus the other? Then it was, okay, there's a couple fumbled language things here and there from one side. Now it's an assassination attempt. This isn't going to slow down, right? Like the next 4 months, not even just in the United States, but across the world, are going to be really, really insane. And like, I know you and I are both from New York, so we're maybe used to that like fast-paced lifestyle. If you're not from a city or a country that has a more fast-paced lifestyle, it's about to get crazy. And it's probably not going to be normal. And I know a lot of people since 2020 have been saying, I want to get back to normal. I think we have to stop saying normal as in pre-2020. We have to start looking at it as it's going to just be crazy. Prepare for anything and everything. Live by the Boy Scouts motto, be ready for everything. Because be prepared. It's just going to be insane.
You know, it's funny. That's a fun point. I can't touch my thumb to my pinky to do. See, my whole hand curls. I can't do it.
Interesting.
So I would have to for me to do that because I was in the Boy Scouts. I would have to bend my pinky over and then put it in place and then hold it there, and that hurts so bad for me to try to do that, and I can't. I have to hold my pinky in place. Hey, I thought that was a good deviation point. It's both hands. It's both of my hands. They're big, but I can't. My whole hand. I don't have the flexibility.
So then let's look at grip, right?
Yeah.
When you're playing video games, are the normal controllers good enough, or do you need something else? Do they fit well? Are the ergonomics of video gaming good enough for you?
No. All right, I gotta. So I was playing the Switch handheld. That is the most uncomfortable, miserable experience I've ever had playing a video game. That thing is genuinely for children's hands. I've never felt my hands cramp up worse than trying to play handheld Switch. It's terrible. It's a terrible experience.
I understand.
The PlayStation 5 controller is great. The newest Xbox controller is great. I don't have a problem with the Switch Pro controller. Some of the controllers of the bygone eras were also terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's truly terrible.
I empathize.
Yeah. Oh, come on. The N64 controller, that was good.
I honestly really liked the N64 controller. I thought that was great.
Switching the handle grips was stupid.
Well, yeah. But that was only if you were changing the camera with like the D-pad from the N64 controller, then you would have to switch to the other side. But you might not have known this. I just learned this a couple months ago. The nunchuck from the Wii is actually the center of the N64 controller. If you look at an N64 controller, they just basically like pulled the middle out, and that's the nunchuck for the Wii.
And slapped a wire on it?
Absolutely.
I believe it. I believe it. You
Listen,
know,
long live
here's
Nintendo.
something. Look, I've been picking up PlayStation 3 games every so often. I pick them up for bargains, like $9, $10 because they're going extinct. They're going to be hard to find. That is the worst controller. The PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 controllers are genuinely uncomfortable to use. They're really small, and so for my hands, I have big hands,
very large.
So look, it's as big as my face. So having that and then trying to hold that, it's just not a fun experience at all.
Yeah,
not good.
I understand.
All right, but let's wrap up this. Let's wrap up this Trump talk, because there's one big takeaway I think everybody needs to walk away with on this that nobody's talking about. The shooter failed, thank God, because today you would have seen more violence. I don't know what it would have looked like, but today would have been more violence if Trump died yesterday. So thank God for that. Secret Service needs to reevaluate why this happened and make sure it doesn't happen again. But the media has failed you. The United States media has failed you. It's failed me. It's failed Isaac. It's failed your family, your friends, everyone you know. The media, the mainstream media in the United States has failed you. Why is that? Oh my gosh, why would you say that? I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Look, I'm looking right down the barrel of the camera. The media in the United States is not your friend, regardless of if they are left, right, center, up, down, spin around, close your eyes. They are not your friend. They are bought and paid for by corporations through sponsorship dollars and advertising spaces to push an agenda and push a message that comes from on high. This is beyond taking sides in your whatever politics you stand for. It is a story. Journalist is just another title for marketer. And yesterday, we saw the ramifications of that in real time. This is not a conspiracy theory. Go watch the news. All those ad spaces, every time they play the Honda commercials, every time they play the Nissan commercials or the pharmaceutical commercials, those are companies paying big money for those ad spots.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not going to pay for those ad spots unless the programming is pushing a narrative that they also agree with. There is no free journalism. It goes from Fox to CNN, from Newsmax to NBC. They're all bad. They reported yesterday as an incident. We heard loud noises as a poor dude is bleeding out behind the former president. Yeah. So this isn't, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, we have to believe whatever the media says. No. You need to be able to consume the media and come to your own conclusions. You need to be able to read the books from all of the candidates. You need all of their books. That was one of the best things. In 2008, I was sitting there reading. I was a kid in school. You know what I was reading at lunch? The Audacity of Hope by Barack Obama, right before he became president. You got to be able to read the books from both sides to understand how these people think. There's nothing wrong with understanding what the world is from all sides. You have to be able to consume the media on both sides. And you know what breaks my heart is that everyone is both delusional and correct at the same time. And let me explain what that means. The coronavirus happened. We're not monetized on any of these channels, so I could say that word and not worry. The coronavirus happened. Do you know what happened after that? Or one of the things that happened after that? There was an increase in violence against Asian Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Even further than that, there was just a violence against Asian-looking people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's wrong. Any violence is wrong. Any call for violence is wrong. But it did happen. You look back at World War II, Japanese internment camps, and we know now that was wrong, right? That was wrong. Okay. Well, if you were to talk to somebody who's in, and I have some of my closest friends are part of the LGBTQ movement, respectfully, and they have a genuine fear that if Trump is elected, violence will be had against them. Are they wrong? It's a 50-50 split. Because on one hand, that is a paranoia, but on the other hand, we've seen less happen for more. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We've seen these kinds of, so I can't say that that's an unjustified thing. It's like, there are some sick, crazy people in the world. And then on the other hand, you've got, okay, well, so that's one side. Let's look at the other side. Well, the other side is saying, well, the government's after us and they're going to take everything from us and we're no longer free and they're taking away our freedoms. It's like, okay, well, that's a paranoia. But we see that happen too. So both sides have been pushed into a form of delusional paranoia with just enough justification for it to be like, well, crap, you might be onto something.
Yeah.
And so what the real Americans, and by real Americans, just people want peace. And the ones that are calling for division and negativity are wrong, and just be aware of them. And you got to make decisions on your own. And what happened yesterday is a catastrophe for not just America, the world, and everybody needs to respect that. And this is not a political channel. We're not a political channel. We're not going to tell you who to vote for. You vote for who is going to be best for you, but make sure you vote, because that is important. That is something the only thing you can do is vote. That's the only thing you can do. So with that, Isaac, any final thoughts on the this chaos?
Just two things, really. One of them is I know that at least in the U.S. we have the Constitution, and the First Amendment is freedom of speech. I'm a believer in freedom of speech, and I think along with the freedom of speech also comes the freedom of thought, right? And I think a lot of times people that are watching what we've started to recently call either like mainstream media or legacy media, it's not freedom of thought, because you get your information from somewhere else and you are hoping that they come with a certain level of credibility and trustworthiness. However, it depends on the author of the article, the author of the story. So we have to just always keep in mind that unless we think of the idea on our own or come up with our own opinion on what we perceive that, if we are just regurgitating the facts that are coming from these legacy media channels, there's no guarantee that they're actually correct or fact checked. I like, what you had just mentioned about, government intervention and all of those different things. I know Dana White, he is the owner of the UFC. He's a good friend of President Trump, but he's a relatively controversial person. But one of the things that I like that he says, and this isn't me saying I take one side or the other, but what he says is, if we could figure out a world in which government intervention wasn't needed, we'd be much better off. So I guess, one of the things David talks about repeatedly is when you go into a store, try to figure out how they encouraged you to spend that dollar. Here, in this type of context, think about how you had that thought, or why you think the way that you do. Did the government help you? Did they allow you to think that way? Did they push your thought in that direction? Freedom of thought, absolutely, all the way. Gather as many facts as possible. And honestly, like David said, he was reading the Barack Obama book in 2008. Read both sides. It doesn't matter if you have one affiliation or the other. Read both. There are a lot of people that said, I didn't know this about President Biden. I didn't know this about President Trump, or even potential President Bobby Kennedy. I didn't know these things. And as I started to read more, I see that the legacy media didn't necessarily line up with what these people actually stood for. So do your
Yeah.
research, do your homework. There's no get rich quick scheme. It's the same thing with information. You can't get rich on information quickly by just watching somebody else's truth of what they believe is being said. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, there's no the best thing you can do is just surround yourself with education on every side, and you have to ask the questions. And even here's what's great, and not enough people do this. You have an idea, okay? I believe X,
Mm-hmm.
but somebody else is saying Y, somebody else is saying Z, somebody else is elemental P, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to ask yourself, is there validity to Y? I believe in X. Is there validity to Y? And then follow that trail of questioning. Is there validity to Z? Well, what are the flaws with Z? What are the flaws with X? It's objective discourse and objective thinking that this country and the world has lost. They've lost it. You cannot have an open discourse anymore. I miss being able to discuss things with people, and we live in a very online world where it's not a matter of discussion, it's a matter of dominating people, and it's a matter of winning. You don't care about growing, we care about decimating your opponent. So it's no longer about us growing as people. That's the point of this show, is to just spread ideas, bring you the ideas we have during the week, and then you do with them what you want. And maybe it'll even talking them out. Sometimes you come to different conclusions. Talking. This country's lost the ability to talk so badly to the point where somebody tried to kill the former president yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do want to pull up. We saw some of these that were really great comments. Firstly, from Mike, you needed to talk about this, Wiz. This is important. We need to talk about the difficult things. Yeah, and we need a place to talk about them that's not saying, well, one side is right and one side is wrong. There are objectively great ideas on all sides. There are also objectively dangerously awful ideas on all sides. I miss not being able to discuss that as we used to be able to do maybe a decade ago. No, more than a decade ago. It's been a long time since we've been able to talk as people. I rewatched the movie My Fellow Americans last weekend, and it was a lighter look at politics. It might deserve a revisit, even if it's a rental video. So this is a fantastic film that has not really aged that great, but it's still a great movie. I invite everybody to watch this. My Fellow Americans, it's a comedy that was from like the 90s, I think. I just pulled it up here, 1996. It's got Dan Aykroyd as president, Jack Lemmon, James Garner. So it's a buddy mystery movie with James Garner and Jack Lemmon, who are both former presidents. One's a Republican, one's a Democrat, and they end up getting sent on a mission together to try and kind of prove their innocence, but also solve a mystery that's going on with the deep state. It's a really good movie, and it's funny, and it's a much lighter tone. Even though you're dealing with political assassination, which is interesting, but it's a good movie, and it plays the idea of both sides working together to solve a bigger problem. It's a really great movie.
Yeah.
I saw yesterday MAFA, Make America Friends Again. God, I wish so. I wish that was the case.
It used to be in neighborhoods, like you could live with one person that had one set of beliefs next to another person with another set of beliefs, and you could go to dinner, like have dinner at someone's house, and it was okay. It didn't matter what their beliefs were beyond that. You could still be friends with everybody. And now there's so much division. It's like, oh, I'm only going to be friends with these people. So it just makes your beliefs even more and more radical because you never see the other side. You never see that they're actual people with a pulse, with a heart, with a family, with a life. And it like dehumanizes one side versus the other.
I saw someone say yesterday, and I think this was on Twitter, said something along the lines of, I can't quite feel bad for those affected because they actively wish violence on me. And that one messed me up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if that, like, have we lost the value of life that far in this world? Like, we value each other so little now that's where it is. That's where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, uh, I don't care what the violence, physical violence, violence of any kind is never the answer, regardless of if you disagree. And so this is pretty rough. This is a pretty rough one.
Can we
But
just pull up
is,
this topic, right, or the one from Kitty Splain about critical thinking? So it's a little bit
yeah,
longer, but I like this one a lot, and I just want to talk about this because it gives a little bit more of a background of who I am, and then what David does, and what we've tried to do together as well. So like people also, as well as critical thinking, the validity and opinions from various sources, then and there an objective scientific fact, and so many people can't see the difference between fact and opinion. That's one of the things that like really drove a lot of the communication and connection between myself and David. I run a channel called Prototopics Learn, and it's an education channel. It's education in the sense of what's not working in the education sector. Should homeschooling be a thing? Should unschooling be a thing? But critical thinking is what drives all of that. And a lot of this conversation is based on what are people thinking? How did they get to that point? It's not just a matter of how did someone get on the roof that led to the event. It's like, what were the sequence of events that led to that? And how can we prevent things like that from happening in the future? So the conversation is important. We need to keep talking about it, because if you stop talking about it, these things continue to happen. But we also have to learn from it. Just looking at the fact that it happened and then trying to say, okay, we don't want it to happen again, is not going to prevent it. What kind of proactive solution can we come up with based on the history of what happened versus a reactive solution on, after something's already happened, what do we do now? Preventative maintenance versus, trying to fix it after the fact. If the bullet was 2 inches further to the right, the world would be totally different today. And this conversation would be totally different. So
totally different.
we're here saying, thank God that this didn't play out the way that, whoever the shooter was had intended. But we have to look at this really critically, and we have to teach people critical thought and developing their own thought. David and I mean, we go back and forth all the time, and there's a lot of, similarities in our thought process, but we find a lot of people that don't agree, and we're happy to listen to them and talk to them and say, well, what about your experience? Because I'm a data person, and we know that Isaac, am one data point. David is one data point. Collectively, we're just 2 data points out of the 8 billion data points that exist in the world. So we have an opinion, and we might, it might line up in certain spots with yours, but we need to hear yours too. We need to talk to other people. We need to think critically about what happened and how we can prevent in the future, and then keep the conversation going. Don't sweep it under the rug.
Yeah, here, let's further that with a bit of a real talk moment. Mm-hmm. How often do we run across people? Because for those who don't know, Isaac and I very much work together on the day-to-day. How often do we come across people that we can't stand, who we learn something from?
A lot more than I would have expected in the beginning.
A lot more than I would have ever thought. It's like, I can't stand this person. I want him gone. I want him away from oh, wait a second. Oh, that's a really good idea. I still hate you, but that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that, if you can't objectively be like, there is value to the discourse. There's value to the discourse. When you're able to say, like, I don't have all the answers, but actually no one does. Mm-hmm. And the person who says that they have all the answers has the least answers. You learn something there. And we don't have that in this world anymore. We don't have that, especially in this country.
Right.
Jeez, it's like, you know what? You can't stand some people, but think about it. Put yourself in their shoes for a minute. Where are they coming from? What's their motivation? What are they truly after? Oh my gosh, they are onto something. If I take everything here and I apply that, we may have something great here. We don't have that enough anymore. And now because there's not enough people having this talk. There's not enough people saying things like this. Everyone's just saying awful things. Let's just put it that way. The world is now, we are more polarized than ever before, and that frightens me.
Yeah.
That frightens me. That should frighten you too. You should be concerned. You should be concerned. The value of human life has never been less than it is right now today. You have people on Twitter with their full voice, full chest out, saying that they wish it was a little more to the right, a little more to the left, an inch a different way. That's terrifying. Or trying to justify that this is okay, right? And you've got a media already doing their damnedest to try and spin this, and it's going to spin city. I can't stand it. I can't stand all of them. There was one. I got to see it. I got to find it because it's just, there's a newspaper that came out today, and it was along the lines. Okay. Oh, Face ID doesn't work because I'm wearing a beard. Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah, I can't even open my phone.
Well, listen, while you're pulling that up, Kitty Splain's on fire right here. The next one at 12:51 or 1:51, I learn more from people with an alternate viewpoint than people who think like me. Now,
that's right.
I've been in education for a long number of years, and this one to me just registered something in my brain that I never put together. Education is on the opposite of comfort. People that want to be comfortable want to surround themselves with people that think like them, because then they are reaffirmed in their thought process over and over and over again. When you are educating yourself, it is you humbly falling on your sword saying, I don't know this thing and I want to. So learning from people that have an alternative viewpoint or surrounding yourself that have alternative viewpoints is a bold move. And it might not seem like it. You might not intentionally wake up and say, I'm going to surround myself by people who know things that I don't and I want to know more. But honestly, kudos to you. And I think more people need to be doing this. You can learn from other people. It doesn't mean you need to agree with everything that those people say, but you can empathize with those people and understand where they're coming from. And honestly, I'm getting chills right now because I've taught in education for a number of years, and I've never thought about comfort versus education. I'm going to write that down because I'm going to do a video on that next time. That's awesome.
Yeah, there you go. You know what would be really bad right now? Like objectively, let's play to be funny with all this like really deep talk, and everybody's like, "Yeah, you know what? That's really good. You're on the money." And then we turn around and be like, "And that's why today we're going to offer you a really special deal on a real estate selling course
on a new AR-15."
You want to talk about how to learn? Today we're going to talk. The best thing you can learn right now is real estate.
We are gurus. It's about the knowledge.
You know? Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
You see too much of that. I keep getting these Instagram ads, these Instagram Reels ads, and I'm like, please go away. And I don't know.
Yeah.
But they're aggressive. It's like, here's a real estate course. Okay, no, I'm not interested. Hey, we know you swiped away on our last one, and we're here with another offer on this real estate course. I'm like, no.
I saw you.
We know you swiped away on the second one, so we're going to make you an offer you can't refuse. It's the course mafia.
Oh yeah.
I can't stand. We're going to sell you a new course, a new this course, a new that course. Jeez.
You know what's so interesting?
Course ad spend.
Like I said, I was just in Europe, right? The ads in Europe are totally different. Here, it's buy this course. Here's my political association. Here's why, you should have this sexual orientation. You go there, and they're what ads used to be. We did that video on the Prototopics podcast a few weeks ago on different commercials, right? And commercials that just had like an epic message, really creative, really well done. When I was in Europe, it was about, hey, come to this restaurant, come to this bookstore, go to this public park and enjoy the air. Like the ads were totally different. I saw ads for churches. Like, hey, are you feeling okay? Come to this church. We support you. Like, what? We don't get that here. And I'm not saying that they're never there. It's just like, I don't know if it's the algorithm or the cultural acuity of, Europe versus here. It's totally different.
Well, you know what? What we need is see, I'm trying to find a good segue. I'm not good at this. Here. I need you to segue from this topic into the Game Awards and how there's going to be a competing business.
Okay, I just thought of a good transition, but I can't use it because I'll get canceled immediately.
If you want, look, folks, if you watch my videos, you know how there's like I do a segment and then I fade out and I do a title and I come back into the top because I don't know how to do that. I want to break each of my things up. I don't have this smooth transition.
So on Thursdays we will do the podcast on the Prototopics Learn channel. So if you're not following or you're not subscribed to the Prototopics Learn channel, go over there. Every Thursday we do a podcast. And it is known for people that have been with us for the past, months that we've been doing this, that transitions are left to me. David's not so good with them. So he had one good one. I take that personally. He did have one good one once. And
I take that personally.
What is this? Oh my God.
In the boardroom.
Oh my goodness. I don't understand. You're fired.
Am I? Say that to my face.
I don't know that I can. Oh my goodness. Wow. No, this is good. So What is that, Chewbacca?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, if it was full screen. Here, let me go full screen. Yeah, it's Chewbacca. Hey, how you doing?
Oh my.
Yeah, look at him pressing buttons.
That was actually pretty good.
There.
I'm pretty impressed with that. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, good. Well, thank you, Chewy. We appreciate it. So I can't get the bad transition out of my head. So I'm going to try to just come up with another one. It's so bad. All right. So we're going to transition. We're going to go from a missed shot to a made shot. And we're going to talk about the Game Awards that are just, it's a really...
I would have been better introducing it myself at this point.
Go for it. I had a good one, but I can't. So.
Oh, I don't know why we disappeared. We're still here. Oh. How do I put us back on? This is new to me. Let me see. Showtime? Ah, there we go. Showtime. Okay.
There we go.
All right. So let me introduce this. Hold on. I'm going to stop sharing. I'll come back into Showtime. So this is Craig from Side Scrollers introducing his concept for the Real Game Awards. Now, what is the Game Awards? So every year you have at least two shows. One of them, I think we definitely dabbled with on a previous channel, the Summer Game Fest, where they make all of the game announcements, or some of the game announcements, for people that sponsor to be a part of the Game Awards. They get to announce their projects in the summer, around the same time that Microsoft and PlayStation and Nintendo make all of their announcements. Okay. Then you also have the actual Game Award show, which takes place usually towards the end of the year. I want to say it's December time, like right around Christmas, and it's all of the best games of the year. Think of it like the Oscars for video games. There's a lot of controversy around this because it's kind of turned into an access media only show. For you to be a part of it or even like sponsor it, you're looking at upwards of $200,000 to sponsor the show. Mm-hmm. Now, we've seen that, over 700,000 people are watching it just on YouTube alone. Like, it's a big deal. It's certainly something to take note of. But there's a very big draw to access media exclusive only, and that you have to play by their rules. And it's a very closed door conversation kind of environment. And I'm gonna let Craig explain it here. I'm gonna pull this video up. Isaac, make sure you can hear it. Nope, I pressed the wrong button. And share.
A few months ago when I announced Take Games Back, I, like many of you, had pretty much just reached a tipping point. I was, and am, just sick and tired of seeing gamers just disrespected by journalists and even people within the video game industry. It is amazing to see an industry that has just such disregard for its customers. Take Games Back was and is a call to action because something has to be done. And since I made that first announcement, journalists, consultants, and industry activists have almost like doubled down. We've seen journalists dox people, literally call people's wives, and even challenge people to physical fights. I mean, what a joke. As I said before, it's one big club and you're not even invited to it. And the worst part about it is that these people have the gall to think that they get to decide the best games of the year at some overly corporatized, super sterile award show that plays it safe. Not anymore. Starting today, Take Games Back is officially called the Real Game Awards. I've always thought the phrase for gamers, by gamers is extremely cliche, but I gotta be honest, that's exactly what the Real Game Awards is. You decide what you like best, not some activist blogger out of San Francisco or New York. We're gonna remove all that bullshit product placement and all that celebrity nonsense that's thrown in there. Get right to the core of it. It's about games. If you're tired of all the nonsense in the video game industry and want to help reclaim the voice for actual gamers, become a voting member of the Real Game Awards. And hell yes, we're gonna gatekeep, which is why it costs $30 a year to become a voting member. If you become a member today, guess what? We're actually taking suggestions for categories right now. Yes, you will decide the categories voted on in this year's award show. In 2024, we want to do a digital event because our goal is simple. We want to save as much money as we can for 2025 where we can hold a physical event. I don't care if we do it at a Buffalo Wild Wings. The point is, we gotta take action. With that said, it's time for you to take action and help reclaim the voice for gamers in this industry and hobby that we all love. Go to therealgameawards.com and become a voting member and start suggesting categories literally right now.
Can we back it up for a second?
Yes.
I want to go back to like the room that he's sitting in. I can feel like he just exudes authenticity. And I mean, I can just tell if you look at like what's behind him, right? This like Mario craft, and then I believe that's Zelda next to him. Like, it's not polished. It's not BS. It's not, as he said, it's not corporate jargon. This is just like a legit down-to-earth dude who was fed up with BlizzCon or these other, companies coming in and trying to do it in a corporate setting. And he just wants to do it right and give the power to the people. And I think that that's amazing.
I want to really jump in on this idea of competing with the mainstream, right? So here you've got, as I described earlier, the introduction to this is you've got the Game Awards, which is an overly corporatized, extremely expensive, no access to you peons out there, award show for video games where they just get around and pat themselves on the back. There are some extremely other derogatory terms I could use to describe that, but patting themselves on the back seems to do it. And here you've got an individual who's a business owner, right? He's sold a company, the guy who started Screw Attack, and says, you know what? All right, enough's enough. We're going to do our own thing. Here's the details. Here's what we're doing. Everyone can buy in to vote. You buy in to vote. And what? Take a guess at what the response has been from the mainstream.
I would venture to say that the mainstream is doing one of two things. They're either ignoring it completely, or they're doing their damnedest to discredit and say this guy is nothing. It's not worth it.
Both of those. Yes, that's exactly it. That is exactly it. So you've got a lot of people that are just throwing shade in tremendously, I think, awful ways. But at the same time, then you have the other people that are just completely ignoring it. Like, this is a big deal. This is a big deal because you know what? It's got, last I saw, over 300 people signed up within the first 48 hours. That's a grassroots announcement video posted on YouTube and a couple of people retweeting. So you mean to tell me on a grassroots movement, just posting the video to YouTube, you got over 300 people to drop $30 for this? At least, at minimum. At minimum, there's the other tiers. You could go higher than that. I fully endorse this. I fully support it. I think it's a great idea. I love the idea of somebody else saying we're not buying in to the access media corporate baloney. We're going to do our own thing. and you could be a part of it. You can buy in to be a part of it. I fully endorse it. I've emailed with Craig privately. We've talked. I think this is a wonderful idea. Fully endorse it, fully support it. However, I can be a part to help make this thing happen. I want to be a part of it. You've anything that gives access and power back to people and gets it away from the access media journalist bullshit. That's where I stand. I stand with the people. And you know what? The Game Awards, awarding to games, I believe, should be done by gamers. And I don't trust the integrity of the Game Awards. When you're paying that much money to be a part of this stuff, you have to wonder, is it really fair?
Oh, yeah.
Is it really fair? Can you really trust it? I think it's awful.
I am very excited to see where this goes, because I think the people that know the games better, even than the developers, are the gamers. And I think that the gamers having the say is going to make the entire gaming community feel more like a community again. Not that it wasn't ever a community for people in their own respect, but it always felt, especially we talked about it with the Sweet Baby Inc. We talked about it.
Oh yeah,
Sweet
SBI.
Baby Inc. There were so many issues where it felt like the gamers had the power taken from them and just given to other people. So I think it's long overdue that someone now stands up and says, we're going to give it to the people. The people decide. And I'm really hoping that there are companies that will watch this and say, okay, that's what people really liked. Now we can use that to emulate what our games in the future will look like. Knowing that
I want to check this out. To me, the fact he's calling it the real Game Awards is tacky at best. It feels like a money grab at this point. So I'm glad he's made this comment. Two things. One, calling it the real Game Awards, tacky, maybe. Mockery, yes. It's making a mockery of the Game Awards. This is a grassroots movement of I don't want to say YouTubers, but gaming enthusiasts who have enough influence, because it's more than just YouTube, right? There's people on every platform that are involved with this kind of thing. It's a grassroots movement to say, you're not in control of us and our opinion, and we get to decide what we like. It's another voice to a conversation. So I don't mind that. Mock the corporate industry. Fine, go for it. The tacky vest. It feels like a money grab at this point. All right, let's expand on that. Let's assume it's a money grab for a moment. Okay. The internet is forever. Whatever you post online is out there forever, right? Okay. So we know that Craig's got a track record. He started Screw Attack. Okay. That was successful. Sold it. Okay. So he's been in the sphere for a long time. All right. And basically, he's, from what I know of him, I'm not going to say I know everything about him, but he's got a pretty good track record, right? I enjoy watching. He's got a daily show. I enjoy the daily streams, right? So I think I have integrity with the guy. All right. What happens if it is a cash grab? Are you really going to blow out your reputation for $30 access points?
Right.
To an event when very clearly you get caught up. We see events that are cash grabs, and those people's reputations are obliterated for forever. There's no coming back from that. Mm-hmm. And so with that alone, and with the other people that are on the board, and with the support that this is garnering, I don't believe it's a cash grab, because there's everything to lose.
Yeah.
If it is, there's everything to lose. You don't come back from that if it is. So let's instead give it two options, because I don't think cash grab is going to be one of them. I have to look at this event objectively as a business owner myself and consider the following. Let's play the whole thing out. This is either going to be, one, a failure because the execution is flawed, or two, it'll be a success because the execution is great. And that is how it's going to be judged at the end of it. I don't think it's going to be a kind of a scam because there's too many there's too many people's reputations on the line, including Craig's. And I think he's going to put his money where his mouth is, and he wants to do something really good. Especially from my conversations with him, he wants to do something really good.
Yeah,
he's sick and tired, like I'm sick and tired of. I just ranted about the media earlier in this stream. I'm sick and tired of the media telling me what I should and shouldn't think. So, and that includes entertainment. We haven't talked about Star Wars yet. Holy crap, my friends! Holy crap! The narrative that they are pushing to try and spin that the Acolyte is great is nauseating to me. So yeah, I'm. He's got my vote, and I don't think it's a. Oh, and there's a follow up here. I mean, it's essentially trying to kickstart this, but we need to see where it goes. I think it's still in the grassroots stages, and there's nothing wrong with being cautious. But reputation matters, and people aren't going to plant a flag and post up their reputation on something like this. And if it falls apart, if it falls apart on its own, it fell apart on its own, not because it was a scam. Because people are not too cautious. People are cautious now because they keep getting scammed. Look at the Logan Paul thing. There was a boogie scam, crypto scams here, crypto scams there.
NFTs.
This is something where it's not, you're not making the money on it. It's you want your voice to be heard. You want your vote to count. And I think what they're going to do is objectively good. I think, again, it's going to come down to execution. Isaac, what are your thoughts on doing rival companies like this?
I think it's needed. I mean, I think in entertainment across the board, right? Maybe for a long time there have been, there's like the Emmys and the Oscars and the Tonys, and there's all these different award shows for each of these different things. But I think there's a very big importance or a big spotlight on non-monopolistic practices.
Right.
And like, I mean, Kmart, Walmart, Target, like if we only had Walmart, people would say, okay, it's a monopoly. They can charge whatever they want. It's a problem. These award shows, I know that they say people get a say in them, but I also know that there's a political swing behind it. And maybe not political in the sense of like, who do you vote for? But it's
not Republican or Democrat political.
It's a bureaucracy of who pays more, because whoever pays more, they can profit more. And then when they profit more, they just keep people happy. And it becomes this vicious cycle where Game of the Year is now, I don't even know. Nikki, what's that one that we saw with Nikki that's coming out on the Xbox? Invader Nikki or something. It's like doesn't matter. The point is, like, you see these games that come and it's just this vicious cycle of horrible, horrible things. And I'm really hoping that from this, we've seen the downfall of AAA studios. We've seen gaming places across the world close down because they can't make their money back. I'm hoping that this maybe is a little bit of a resurgence in the video game world, in the gamer sphere, where people now feel like it's a cycle where they get to vote on the games that they like. Companies take the advice from the people on what they like, and then they make more games that they like, and it becomes a fine-tuned user experience all the way through. I think that's where we're going to see the most optimal process, and I think that's where we're going to see the happiest of customers in the video game sphere.
Yeah, it's we see indie studios popping up all the time.
Yeah,
and they're making amazing product, and good for them. And that's what we need more of. More competition is a good thing. So that's where I'm coming from, the position of saying, I hope that this is done with the best of intentions and to the best execution possible, because we need people to compete with what's already present. It's how we grow. It's how we get better. And we need things to desperately get better, especially in the gaming industry where we're getting things now that are just awful.
Yeah.
Awful. All right. So that's the Game Awards. I'm going to probably post a link in the description when we're done streaming. I got to fix the beard. Hang on. Oh my God.
You mean it's not real?
Oh, I'm the fake wizard.
Oh, sorry. Don't tell corporate that.
I'm the fake wizard.
Yeah,
Oh my
we'll see
gosh,
you in
it is
HR
so
after.
itchy today. It's ridiculous. That's nuts. All right, here's something I do want to talk about, though. Talked about that. All right,
Yes.
Isaac, there is 1 terabyte of information leaked from the Disney corporate Slack account. Now, at this point, we don't know for fact what any of the specific details were on that Slack account. We do know that there's a lot of names. We know that there's social security numbers. We know that there's projects. We just don't know the specifics of those titles I just gave you.
Yeah.
Isaac, what's your first takeaway when it comes to something like that?
Disney's a mess, man. Like, it just, I mean, if this was the only thing that happened over the last year or so, maybe we would just say, okay, it's a data breach. Maybe it's not a problem. Maybe, I mean, it's a problem, but maybe it's not the end of the world. But to have this paired with, what was it, 3 weeks ago when they got the executive on video, there's
Disney
a
tapes,
lot
yeah.
of successive things that are happening, in a very short amount of time that frankly has me concerned for the Disney company, the Disney corporation. I don't think this has to do with the parks necessarily or the magic and the experience and maybe some of the legacy movies that have done so well. But my
Right.
initial impression is there's a lot of stuff going on really quickly, and it concerns me uh, for Disney as a whole, saying, if you're supposed to be this mega company, how come protection is seeming to be one of the least priorities that you have? And that's protection of data, but also protection of kids. And we'll dive into that, but that's my belief.
Yeah, I with the lawsuits that are going on,
Hmm.
with the evidence against them that Disney is not engaging in good faith ethics practices, this is not going to help any of those cases against them.
Yep.
This is only going to reinforce the stigma that Disney is a bad actor in the business world and entertainment world. I can't see good thing. Look, everybody that I know uses. Everybody that I know in the business world has either heard of Slack or uses Slack.
Hmm.
People say things on Slack they probably shouldn't. They probably shouldn't. And so if you've got those names and those people, and if there are claims being made inside of this server that is leaked, that goes against what is publicly being said, you're going to have a lot of trust problems, but you could have some legal problems too. Now, I know that the acquisition of it is through nefarious means, so that's not very good. So I know it'll be hard to hold up in court, but there are loopholes and leeways around it. But big time yikes. We saw this a couple of months ago where Insomniac Games, these are the people that made Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2, the PlayStation games, somebody hacked into Insomniac servers and leaked a lot of information about them, trailers, character designs, mock-ups, games that they're working on. We got video footage of the upcoming Wolverine game. We also saw that the Wolverine game looks like shit, but that's besides the point. And the problem here is it's like, oh, well, these are the things going on behind the scene. These are pretty bad things.
Oh, yeah.
As a customer, now knowing this stuff, I ain't buying that now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that could very much have the same impact on whatever comes out of this Disney leak. And it's not a leak, this Disney hack.
Yeah. I think it's just important for people to also understand maybe the majority of people are shielded by this guise of what the polished version looks like for a lot of these things. But there's a lot of behind the scenes crap that goes on. And like as a corporate wizard, I mean, I hear a lot about it. I see a lot about it. I mean, like Blizzard was awful, right? Blizzard was terrible. Disney is now showing that they have a tendency to be terrible. A lot of these entertainment companies that are like, they do very polished things. They do very horrible things behind the scene. And it's not to say that every company is like that, But I think the fact that you brought up these indie companies or these indie games that are coming up with people that are saying, I want to do it right. I think we're going to see a huge shift in maybe not purchasing power, financial power immediately, but credibility and trustworthiness in the favor of indie gaming and independent or individual studios versus major corporations, because they're hiding skeletons in the closet while these ones are just trying to do what's right for the people.
Right. Right. So we will definitely talk more on that as more information comes out. There are a few other things I want to get to on this stream, especially with Isaac here, because this next one could be good. I got to pull up a trailer for it. But yeah, I think whatever happens next for Disney, I think we're looking at the turn for the Disney Corporation. I think things are going to get so bad because eventually it has to hit rock bottom, right? Everybody's like, "Oh, this is it. This will put them. This will be rock bottom. This will be rock bottom. This will be rock bottom." It's like, yeah, this is $1 billion company. We don't know how far rock bottom can go, but if it's the Acolyte that has something to do with it, I can't say I'd be surprised.
Yeah,
that is a steaming pile of shit. Now, what I do want to pull up here is, do you remember when we did the stream maybe a month back?
sure.
Maybe a little more than that, actually, where we streamed the PlayStation announcements.
Yes.
When they were announcing all the PlayStation games. So we did a stream together where we watched the announcements for all of those games. And one of them, actually the biggest one that they had played, was called Concord.
Mm-hmm.
Remember this one?
Yes. Is that the very long one in the beginning?
Right. So I want to pull this up because I want to talk about this. So here is, if I go full screen. So this is a minute trailer.
Enemies, take them down.
Call it the healer's touch.
Them all. Breaking the laws of physics.
Do you want to play this?
No.
Well, you know what's funny? Neither did anybody else.
I'm assuming that their July 12th date did not go well.
All right, so here's the story with Concord. So Concord is this new game. This looks incredibly expensive. Like they spent a lot of money to make this. But they made the mistake of putting the beta test, which we just watched a trailer for, behind a paywall. You had to pre-order this $50 game to be able to get access to this beta. So the numbers are out for how many people participated in it on Friday. Concord beta draws less than 1,200 concurrent players. $50 purchase was required. Holy crap, my friends.
Gosh.
This Concord game is an absolute failure. It is dead man walking. So you needed to pay $50 to get access to this beta. And we fast forward and less than 1,200 people played it on opening day. I don't know what it is today. Today is the last day of this beta. But this ain't looking good. And this, again, plays into that conversation we've been having where who is making this stuff? Who are they making it for? Why are they spending so much money to make it when clearly there was no audience there to begin with? Now, it's just the beta. Could things change? Could something happen along the lines that gets more people into it? Maybe. But when we look at games earlier this year, we had Suicide Squad kill the Justice League. And that performed so awful that right now it's available as a free Amazon Prime game.
Oh, no.
They can't give it away. No one wants this. Now, if you're one of the 1,200 Concord players, please let us know, because I want to know what your thoughts are. I will say I watched one of the streamers. What I watched? Oh, I watched Madam Savvy on YouTube was streaming it. It was a mess. It was a choppy, unplayable mess. Absolutely unfortunate. Apparently, it was better on PlayStation than it was on PC, but this is still an embarrassing black eye to PlayStation and whoever funded making this Concord game.
So I just pulled up the statistics for Concord, and it's live. It's the last 48 hours. And
so where is it at now?
It peaked at 1,124. And that
oh my God, it still hasn't broken the peak.
No, dude,
Holy crap.
It's going down. Every minute it's going down. As of right now, it's at 458 users. But it comes in waves. I mean, like at 9 o'clock this morning, there was 217 people. And that peak was its highest, 1,124 people.
Have you ever played any beta access games? Like playing the game before it's out?
I played like a Metroid Prime back in the day as a beta version. But it was free. Huh? Like
on GameCube?
Yeah.
Oh, that's like online server multiplayer beta playing.
I played Rocket League beta.
All right, that's fair. That counts.
Yeah. And
beta, I actually think the beta, if you're part of, for video gaming and for gamers, this is going to be a really hot gamer take. I think the beta gameplay is more thrilling than when the game comes out.
Oh, 100%.
Because there's an element of spontaneity almost, or this kind of a excitement of I'm playing this before it's out everywhere. And what makes me say that is Gears of War 3.
Mm-hmm.
So for you to get the Gears of War 3 beta, you had to, I believe it was, you had to buy another game at the time. Oh no, you had to pre-order it at like GameStop or something. And that's how you get the beta access. And if you played the beta enough, you got a special skin for Coltrane, which I did. I still have it on my Xbox to this day. Like if I play Gears 3, I'm playing with that skin because it was so inaccessible unless you played the beta. Point being I remember playing those multiplayer games because those were so much fun. Everybody's excited. Everybody's hyped to be on here. The game's not live yet. And there's this element of malleability where you don't know what's going to happen. I think more memories are made in the beta. So this now it's a colossal failure. If you can't get people excited enough to try the game that are the hardcore gamers, what faith do you have to get the normies later on? So I don't know. That's just some of my hot takes on it.
At the same time, I think putting it behind the paywall is what makes it the problem.
Yeah, $50 paywall.
Everyone's so excited. You could like immediately cut off access when beta's done and it actually goes into sale. Immediately cut off access. Give full access to everything. When we look at softwares, right? Like when we're trying to decide if we should use this software or that one, they all give you the highest echelon of access for 7 days to 14 days. So you get sold on everything.
You know what's crazy?
Totally free.
Here, look at this. I'm gonna pull up that image I stopped at.
Yeah.
So Concord, play the open beta. Pre-order for early access for you and 4 friends. So that means the pre-orders are so low and there's so apathy to this game that they can't even get the 4 friends that they're giving the access codes to give a crap to play this game. No one wants this. This is a mess. This is a mess.
Which tells us, though, if we just do some extrapolation, right? 1,124 people at the peak. Let's say that was the person that ordered the beta on all of them. 4 friends included in that. So you just multiply it by, we'll say 5. That's still under 10,000 people. That's still a massive failure They're giving it to 4 friends. You buy one, you get 4. First off, I've never heard of that deal anywhere in my life. That seems insane to me. It seems like they're begging for people to want it, and they don't. And then once they beg, it doesn't even matter. We're doing the math on that. 10,000 is the high estimate. It's probably more like 7,000 people. And if you had 7,000 people, that's less than most indie games get when they launch on Steam. And this was the cornerstone piece for PlayStation.
PlayStation's biggest announcement.
Launch. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awful. And it's not something that they can just fix by putting out a disc version and saying, oh, it's going to be a little bit better or whatever. It's like you said earlier, with the money grab thing, there's reputation staked on it. And once people see the numbers, they're going to say, why didn't everybody else want it? I probably don't either. And then they're not going to want to spend $50, $60, $70 on something that they don't think they're going to enjoy.
Yeah, see, people remember reputation. And reputation is one of the most important things. And you got to guard your reputation with your life, because when you lose that, if you're snaking people can find out.
Yeah.
People that snake other people don't get by forever. So I really believe that. And maybe it's foolish because sometimes you get played when you do that. When you want to trust people, but with something like this is a company here. People are going to lose their jobs when this fails, right? You're gonna see more video gaming layoffs when this is a colossal failure financially. And everybody that's working over at whatever the company is behind Concord, yeah, I bet there's people sweating this weekend. I bet there's people sweating. Look at the Suicide Squad game. I mean, now you're going to be seeing there is now rumors that Rocksteady could be closed. Rocksteady, these are the people behind the Arkham Asylum games, Arkham City, the Arkham Knight games. That studio could close. That's bananas to me. To think that how you could fall from grace so far and create that absolute awful mess, that Suicide Squad game. That was terrible. So disinterested in ever playing that. So that's bananas. So that I want to talk about that. I also want to talk briefly about Gladiator 2. This is something that's been going around a lot.
Yeah, I'm disappointed.
I don't know. Have you seen Gladiator 1?
I have. Yes.
All right. I don't know if my internet's dropping or if your internet's dropping.
I think we're good now. It was choppy for a second, but I think we're good now.
Okay.
I have seen the first one. I did enjoy it. But I believe you were the one that made the post. They gave away the movie in the trailer.
Yup. So those who may watch the Gladiator 2 trailer, virtually the entire movie's is in the trailer.
Yeah.
Why is the trailer 3.5 minutes?
Right.
You gave away the whole thing in the trailer. What's the reason to go see the movie now? I mean, the first minute and a half, it's like, okay, I'm interested. All right, Denzel Washington is in the Gladiator movie. Okay. All right, Paul Mescal is okay. All right. Oh shit! You spoiled the whole thing. What am I? Look, for somebody like me who doesn't go to the movies a lot anymore, but loves going to the movies, I love going to the movies. Please give me a reason to go. And everything that comes out, I'm like, I'm not paying to see that. I'm not going to go see that. I'll wait to catch that on streaming. Like, the movies now are so disinteresting that I have no reason. I'm not going to go pay. I'm not going to drive 30 minutes and pay money to see something like this. I'll just wait to catch it on streaming somewhere. You know, another good example of this, and I think it was earlier this year, was Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It's like, all right, Afterlife was good. Frozen Empire doesn't look that great. There was no marketing push behind that. I'd have to drive and lose time and pay money to see this. I'm not going to do that. So it's the same thing for Gladiator 2. It has nothing to do. There is a conversation going around. They're trying, because they have to spin it. They have to spin it. You know what? People are upset. They put a rap song at the end of it with Jay-Z and Kanye West. They put some kind of rap song in it. The media is trying to spin it that everybody's mad that Denzel Washington is in it because he's black. That's bullshit. Everybody loves Denzel Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody loves Denzel Washington. That is bullshit. The big lie meter is exploding right now because that is a lie. That is absolute lies. It has to do with a bunch of other things. For me personally, it's they've spoiled the entire movie in the trailer. So that's a skip. But what I will say is next week, I am hoping to see Twisters. That comes out next week. And the week after that, we've got Deadpool and Wolverine. And so we got 2 weeks back-to-back, 2 weekends.
Yep.
And that might be interesting. Those might be interesting. I'm looking forward to giving a review on Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't really care about Marvel anymore. I've grown disinterested after Avengers Endgame and all of the decisions made after that. I think a lot of it has been truly awful. I think Phase 4 was terrible. Terrible. And looking forward to get past that. But there is a lot of other things. There's a couple things I do want to finish off on before we wrap up. So, Isaac, have you been watching The Acolyte?
I've been watching clips of it. Enough of it to know that it's a hot mess. And enough of it to know that I feel bad for the people that are fans of, honestly, the OG Star Wars. Like we thought the third trilogy, like 7, 8, 9, was bad for the original Star Wars fans. This just decimates it, pummels them. It's a game changer, and not in a good way.
Oh, I miss the sequel trilogy. Like I missed them, and that's something I didn't think I would ever say.
Right.
Because I miss the Star Wars sequel trilogy. And so we're at a place now where The Acolyte is so terribly awful that everything that came before it looks like amazing work done by amazing artistic people. Mm-hmm. But one thing I do want to talk about is you've got this show out now. The ratings are in. Not a lot of people are watching. They're pretty abysmal when you compare it to Star Wars, right? Mm-hmm. And so let's look at it this way. Toys. Star Wars' money is made in the toys. Sure, the box office, yes, and merchandise, but the toys is what keeps the kids coming back, and it's what the adults want to collect. And so now here, what I think is interesting is you have this show which is predicated on characters that no one has any emotional connection to. Mm-hmm. And the toys are $25 a piece.
Oh. No one wants
What are they thinking? I'm going to pull it up here. I got to find it.
Yeah. Well, while you're looking for that, you said the ratings were in, so I pulled up the ratings, right? Just because I'm curious. And it says on Rotten Tomatoes, it has an 81, which to me screams BS.
Oh, Rotten Tomatoes. Well, that's the critics score.
Yeah, exactly, right. But IMDb, which is the fan score, which again, I think goes to why we need the Game Awards and the real Game Awards, because then you see the critics versus the truth of how people feel. IMDb has it at a 3.5, and Google has it at a 1.6 out of 5. With 18,200 ratings. So this is not good, even a little bit. I can't, again, we try to talk about objectivity and like thinking about things objectively. I can't find one objective truth that I can point to about this where I say that's a really redeeming quality that might save it. Like it's so far beyond. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, then the actresses or the actors start doing things in real world that make it worse. It just keeps going. It's a nightmare.
I just found one. And here we got. I want this tab to share. So here we've got May Assassin figure.
Oh my goodness.
This is okay. So May is one of the leading characters. This is one of them, one of the two twins. $25. This is a pre-order. Here's what's crazy. The show ends on Tuesday. people already aren't watching the show.
Mm-hmm.
This pre-order item will be available to ship on approximately October 4th, 2024.
Way too long.
Way too long. Way too long. All right, so that's just her. Oh, there's no recommendation here, but I want to see. Maybe I can find something like where it's more than just that one. Because some of them here and here. Let's talk about this because this is interesting. Star Wars Black Series Darth Vader electronic helmet sold out of this website.
Yep.
And it comes back online a lot. So it's sold out now. It comes back online a lot. All right. Let's scroll down. Oh, this is the new Scout Trooper helmet. Okay. Oh, look at this. Wait a second. Star Wars Black Series Boba Fett premium electronic helmet roleplay collectible in stock $100. Why is this important? This was released a few years ago for the 40th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
It comes and goes in waves of being in stock and being sold out. And the reason I'm talking about the helmets here is because fans of the Acolyte want to point to this item from the show having sold out. It's only sold out here, baby. Mm-hmm. It is available at other comic book shops. It is available on other websites. It's still out there and accessible. Pointing to this and saying the show is a hit because this sold out means nothing, because we just saw here, it keeps coming back. They only make these in short supply. They're short stocking it. But then wait, it gets better. But wait, there's more, Isaac, because when I click on this silly little helmet, take a guess on when this is going to ship.
I really hope it's sooner than October. I mean,
how about September 15th, 2025?
Oh my gosh.
It's a success.
What are we doing?
The Acolyte is a success.
Okay, listen. For those of you that might not know, David and I work in e-commerce a lot. And within that, one of the things you learn is that you can, what David called short supply or short selling, you can just say that the amount to sell is 5. And as soon as you sell those 5, it says sold out. So if they on this website only put it as 5 or 10, they sold out and it looks like it was a huge success. Yeah, exactly. It's fake news. It's not
fake
real.
News.
It's not actually sold out. And how did you sell out if it won't even be available for another year and a half? What did you sell out of? These are fake spots.
They haven't even produced them yet.
One yet. Maybe one
like
for the picture. But that's
well,
it
says on here. It says digitally rendered images. Final product may vary.
A single one of these, and it's not sold out. This is a bold-faced lie to see how stupid you are.
But you could still pre-order it on all the Entertainment Earth. I think GameStop, it's listed on GameStop as well. Like, it's not on Amazon yet. Amazon's usually a little late to get these helmets. Why do I know that? Because I have 2 of them. Like, I have 2 of these stupid ass things. Like, I know this market. And so for the Disney shills who can't explain why they like the writing of the show, point to this as a business example of why it's a success. Kiss my ass. You have no idea what you're talking about. This means nothing. This is fraud. It's fraudulent.
Oh, yeah.
It's not true. They haven't sold out. They haven't made them yet. They gave you the illusion of it selling out there, so that there's a little bit more of a FOMO to this thing. It doesn't ship until September 15th. We're not even in September of this year. It's more than a year away for a show that no one is watching. It's insane.
I do also like the point right here that this doesn't scream Star Wars. This doesn't look like Star Wars. It looks like Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy, Mad Max. I mean, I get that it might go with the Acolyte, but it
doesn't.
This doesn't. If you were to put like all of the helmets in a row and say pick out the one that doesn't match, this would be it. This doesn't look anything like Star Wars.
You know what's actually that's a great point that now I want to expand on, because I hadn't thought about this until you just said that. The character that this is for is a composed kind of guy.
Mhm.
He's slow talking, slow moving, but when he fights, he's got a ferocity behind him. And earlier in the show, he fakes pretending to be somebody that he's not. He pretends to be this kind of like almost drunken monk kind of character of he's silly and he doesn't know what he's talking about. The one thing I don't see this character having is a creepy factor to him in the style of the show tells us that the guy makes this himself. He doesn't inherit this.
Mhm.
We see him working on it. He welds it back together when it breaks, which tells me that he built this himself, which also tells me that he put the teeth on there himself.
Yeah.
And nothing in the show has said that he has almost like a sadistic part of his personality where he would put something of a horror element on the helmet. So not only does it not fit the character, it just doesn't fit the environment. On record, Leslie Headland said we wanted something that looked scary. This doesn't look scary. This looks silly. And it doesn't, now talking about it, like it doesn't actually fit the character.
Right.
Like what? Here's a guy who talks about how the Jedi as he's seducing. By the way, he's being flirty with the protagonist. The Jedi only tell you one thing, but you could tap into your emotions and like it's Twilight level of awkward and cringe. You could tap into your emotions and like you can never be close with anybody like that. And you mean to tell me that he was an edgelord and put teeth on his helmet?
Yeah.
Kiss my ass. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. And I'm also not buying it. So there's that.
Well, it's sold out. You can't. I mean,
yeah.
Listen, to me, do you remember the movie The Iron Giant? The Disney movie? Or Iron Man
it wasn't Disney.
1.
It was Warner Brothers.
You're right, Warner Brothers, sorry.
See?
And Iron Man 1, the silver one that he makes when he's like in the desert and he's welding everything.
Yeah.
Those have more of a place in this series than that one. Those helmets make more sense for this type of character and what Star Wars was and is pre-Acolyte versus where it is right now. The teeth don't make any sense at all. Everything about this is just off. And it feels like you said earlier, accountability with the Secret Service. The writer of this should resign and just say you failed.
Oh! I said in the last review, everyone involved with this needs to be promoted to unemployed.
Yeah, willfully.
Here from Mike. Nobody saw May start the fire, but OSHA. How did Trinity know, or anyone? Mike, you're asking the question. Don't ask questions. You're not allowed to ask questions. Mike. Look, don't ask questions. You're not allowed to, okay? You slop up whatever Disney gives us and you don't ask questions that make absolute sense. Insane. Here, Working Man 90 says, I think it's cool looking, but the Acolyte is garbage. It is cool looking. This helmet is cool. It's edgy.
It's a
little edgy, but the Acolyte is garbage. Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty bad. Did they read the script? All of the decisions can be focused down to or reduced down to somebody read the script and that's why they made the decisions that they make, because motivations waver so easily and so quickly that nothing is reliable on the Acolyte.
I wouldn't be surprised to find that they didn't read the script and then they made these decisions and then after they were just like, it's fine. No one's going to care. Like, it seems like there's such a level of apathy from the writers for everything that Starbucks stood for. Starbucks, look, what the heck? Star Wars.
Do you? I know your wife is a rabid Star Wars fan.
The biggest.
So I think what you should do is just put this on passively one night.
After September 15th of 2025.
No. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna put it on. Let's do a test because I know your wife loves Star Wars. You put this on, but then on your phone you set a timer for how quickly it takes for her to fall asleep. You're gonna see it. You're going to see your wife fall asleep faster than she's ever fallen asleep watching anything else.
Right.
Because this is boring. Boring. This show is boring. We are about to hit 7 weeks that the show has been out. 7 weeks. Nothing's happened. We had a fight scene.
Hold on.
A couple weeks ago, we had a fight scene.
Hold on. I gotta back this up.
Uh-oh.
The debates, right? Elon Musk posts immediately after the debates are over, and he said tonight was a victory. ... for the memes. This show has created some of the best memes that have ever existed. And they will be around for a long time, but the show itself is the new melatonin.
Look, for those of you, because this is a new channel, and I'm seeing a lot of names in the chat that are new that I maybe either haven't been here or maybe I just haven't seen you before. So I do want to say, welcome to the channel, and I hope you're enjoying it. And I see a lot of really great comments here, really great commentary. I want to say, The Last Jedi broke me, but I was also already prepared for it because The Force Awakens was upsetting. I knew once I saw that trailer in 2013 or 2013, no, 2015, we got the first trailer where Han Solo says, Chewie, we're home. I knew instantly Han Solo was going to die, and I knew it was going to be bad. I knew it in my soul. I knew it. Fast forward, I was an apologist for Disney. I was like, no, you could still find value in the sequels. You could still it's okay. They killed Luke Skywalker. All right. Fast forward to the Acolyte didn't break me. Ahsoka did. Ahsoka was so bad that I wanted to take all of my collectibles and shove them in the closet. I was so upset with the Ahsoka show. That was terrible. However, the Acolyte was so bad that I put on a fake weird wizard costume and took to the internet to rant about it. That's how bad this show has driven me to insanity, to the point where I have to jump on and play pretend in different scenes and to talk about it.
What is that?
This is where I'm at. Oh, this is the Shire. Oh. I'm getting ready for Rings of Power talk.
Oh my God.
Here, wait a second. I still got the episode queued up. Look at this. I got the best scene.
Goodness.
Oh my God.
I can say just from experience, just to kind of for those of you that might have been newer and you might not have known the fake wizard for very long, I've known him for a long time. He was a Disney simp. Everything was like Disney.
All right. Let's not go that far.
He was for a while, and there was a turning point where Star Wars just did him in, and he was just it was literally like week 2 of Ahsoka, and you were just like, I can't do this anymore. I heard the tears coming down his face as he took the Ahsoka toys and put them in the closet. And then this one came out, and he's now buying Ahsoka toys because he's remembering the good old days. It's insane how bad this has become.
Yeah. Look, so here I had the scene accidentally queued up. Let me see if I can trigger it again. Oh no, it's just paused now. Here's a scene where Master Squid Games stabs Force air, stabs the dust in the air, which causes what the show has established as a god tier power level witch to instantly reanimate onto the lightsaber and die. Everything I just said is a fact. That's not hyperbole.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this show's yeah. Now cry about it. Yeah, which one? I don't know if the sound is coming through.
It's not.
It probably isn't. Yeah, it's not. All right, well, it is for me. But yeah, this is truly, truly terrible. Now she goes, oh, I was just playing coy and you stabbed me. I was going to let my daughter go with you. It's what she wants. I'm just playing this for until one thing happens. Watch this. Watch this. He drops her on the ground.
Oh my God.
There's a thud. There's a loud thud where he's holding her after he's impaled her. And she says, I was just playing coy. I'm sorry. And then he drops her. Just thud, loud thud. This show's awful. Anyway. Yeah. This is where we're at, folks. This is where we're at. And I can't take it much longer.
Disappointed to say the least.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That was rough.
You said there's one more week, right? Tuesday's the final week?
Tuesday is the finale.
Have they announced that there's a season 2?
They have said that it has not been renewed yet for a season 2. So this is actually a really good discussion from a business perspective.
Yeah.
If Disney runs on Disney Plus, right? Mm-hmm. Disney needs Disney Plus to be profitable. It's not. It hasn't hit expectations of where Disney Plus needs to be. We know this from the financials that they put out. It's not like we're making this up. Disney Plus is not a success yet. It's not making money. Okay. This show cost $180 million.
Whew.
Which what's the turnover on that? What's the ROI to that $180 million? You know how much it is?
Yeah.
0. Because the only way for this to produce any return on investment is to get more subscribers to that
toys,
platform.
Which they can't sell either.
See, the toys are all licensed. So Hasbro makes the most of the money on the toys.
Mm.
So Hasbro's making a good cut on these toys.
Does George Lucas not get anything from these toys?
George Lucas is the largest shareholder in Disney right now. He owns the majority stake in Disney right now. So he doesn't want Disney to fail because he wants it to not lose his investment. Because if the stock continues to decline in Disney, then his selling of Lucasfilm becomes less valuable to him.
Right.
That being said, George Lucas doesn't really have a lot of power. He's just the highest stakeholder.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's further that a little bit more. Or I believe he's the largest individual stakeholder.
Mm-hmm.
There are still the mega corporations that have the majority, but he's the largest individual that has stake in Disney. Or at least that's what's been reported. So let's further that idea. So the Acolyte's not making money because and we could see from the Nielsen ratings, no one's watching the show.
Mm-hmm.
They take to Twitter and say that, oh my gosh, everybody's talking about it. They're talking about it. It is the most talked about Disney Star Wars show, but nobody's paying to watch it.
That's a little spin doctory.
Yeah. So Isaac, if you were in business and you had a product that cost you $180 million and all your customer base did was rip on you for it, what would you do?
Myself, logically,
yeah,
disassociate. Disassociate, remove anything that has to do with it, pretend it was a fever dream, and we never ended up doing it. I would eat the $180 million. I say that. I don't want to spend $1.80 at Dollar Tree, but I would eat the $180 million, and I would come out and publicly apologize. We messed up. We apologize. This is not who we are. We are for the fans. And I would do everything I can to get the paying Star Wars fans back. But it's gone. It's done.
So you would apologize if you knew you made a mistake?
100%.
Oh, okay. So here's what's interesting. A lot of people say the same thing. Disney should just admit that they went in the wrong direction if they acknowledge they went in the wrong direction and fix it.
Nah, they doubled.
But they haven't. They haven't. Why? There's 2 reasons. The first one being the stock price would be affected because this would be them coming out and admitting to making mistakes that they knowingly knew were mistakes. Mm-hmm. So that would firstly drop the stock price, but it would also be proof of them knowingly making mistakes that go against shareholder values, which could lead to court problems. That could turn into legal problems if they admit to making mistakes like that. So they have to be careful. Number 1. Number 2, why don't they do it? Because they can't. Because they are so committed and bought in to their new target market that they want to be buying Star Wars. There's no guarantee that original fans would come back if they it's Star Wars, and the things that Disney has done are, people say too big to fail, too far to go back. Yeah. They've gone too far. There is no going back now, because wait a sec. Oh my gosh. Well, we killed off the original target market. That was what we wanted to do. Oh no, we don't have a guarantee that they're going to come back if we turn ship. I guess we're moving forward.
So let me speak about this from a consumer point of view, right? There's a comment right here from Amazing Meta talking about what Disney is doing. And they need to stop killing my childhood. Now, here's why. I get the too big to fail, too far to go back. I think if they not only apologized, but doubled down on the apology and then lived up to actually apologizing and showed it with their efforts, AKA corporate accountability. Can you, anybody here, or David, even you, can you logically say, I can think of this company that willingly admitted to their mistakes and tried to fix it? I can't, because it always affects the stock price, right? So we've got this situation where they are killing people's childhoods, and they are destroying entire fan bases that have spent billions upon billions on not only watching the content, but also living and breathing the content with shirts or in the park experiences or toys and merchandise, all that kind of stuff. If you genuinely apologized and you had the decision makers sit right here, stare down the barrel of the camera and say, we messed up. We apologize. We're going to do better. We want to hear from you. We're going to take the next 6 months to reevaluate. We are sorry, and we will fix this. And then they just did what people told them they wanted. I truly think that they could get people back. But they would never do that.
I want to push back on that.
No.
Here's why.
No.
All right, let's role play that idea, right?
Sure.
So let's say you and me, for instance, right?
Sure.
We are building brands. We have a YouTube thing going. We have our own businesses, right? Where we are doing business our own way, and in a lot of ways, I'll say that we're still very green to the game of being in the marketplace. Like, for instance, the channels we're streaming on now, some of them were only invented within the last 3 or 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. So we're new. So I can come in and say to all of you right now, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes.
Yeah.
I screw up all the time. And then if I make those mistakes, if I flub my words, if I make an error, if I post something where the audio peaks in the wrong places, if I make mistakes, if I make a point that, later on I have to, I even in a video a couple days ago, I said, if this is here and I don't know it, then I think it breaks canon. And then I had to update that post to say, well, wait a second. Actually, it was there. I was incorrect. However, it's because they changed the word. They changed the name. So I was wrong, but also they were wrong. It was a miscommunication, right? So, but I could admit that. What happens if Disney makes an admission like that? They lose that position of authority that they have set for themselves of being the best ever.
But they're not anymore.
But they still have that brand recognition that they themselves have never admitted to failure. They've never admitted to fault.
That's like a known thing that they've never admitted.
Well, think about it. Disney used to be the brand of excellence.
Sure.
Every film Disney put out was a banger, made millions and millions, billions of dollars. So now you're in a situation where it's like, okay, well, if we can bleed and people see us bleeding and we admit to bleeding, do we ever come back into that position? And this is one of those questions. I don't think there's a right answer to it. Yeah. It is very much a broad business billion-dollar discussion of, if we admit we were wrong, we're going to firstly alienate all of the target market that we're trying to get to. They want a very politically driven target market to spend money. Truth is that target market doesn't spend nearly as much money as they had hoped. Mm-hmm. So for them to come out and say, hey, Hey, I'm sorry. We tried to go to a different target market, and we messed up. Come back, please. We're sorry. Who's going to respect that at that point? And so I think it's yes.
At the same time, and I'm thinking of Chipotle, right? Chipotle, maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, there was that trend going around where people would pull out their phone and record people when they were ordering, when they were like scooping it into the bowl, and they were saying they're serving less and less. The serving size at Chipotle is getting smaller and smaller. The CEO came out and doubled down. He's like, no, you're wrong. So then people went and like measured it with a scale, and they were like, no, we're not wrong. Like, you're wrong. So when you have the like tough mentality of like, no, you're wrong, we're not, I think it alienates people. When you have the apology mentality, you might have to be willing to be knocked down a little bit to like get back up. There's the saying, like, you got to pull a slingshot forward, like backward before it can shoot forward. Disney already launched itself forward, and it's in another stratosphere. There's no company that I can logically think of that's at the same level that Disney has and held it for so long.
Yeah.
But the audience that they went for they're now seeing the repercussions of having that as your target audience. And you've alienated the money spenders and the purchasers in favor of the, I'll say, politically loud, but it doesn't bring dollars in. And that's why they are bleeding money on every front.
I want to pull up, got some really great comments here. From Mike, and why are they doing assuming the Rey movie? Come on, nobody likes Rey. I'm not talking about the actress. She's fine. I'm talking about the character. All right, so let's break that down very briefly. Right now, allegedly, they're working on developing episode 10,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to be featuring Rey from the sequel films getting her own movie. Nobody wants that, and it's not going to make $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do with Daisy Ridley, the actress. We keep coming into situations where the media wants to tell us, oh, well, there's vitriol against Adam Driver. There's vitriol against Daisy Ridley. It's like, nah, I think that anybody who's doing that is a sick bastard. Like, anybody who's actually attacking the actors, they're assholes.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone can agree with that.
Yeah.
It's not the actors are just doing a job. But Rey is not $1 billion character because they didn't give her enough to become $1 billion character. So yeah, good point. That nobody wants that. Here we go. Working Man says, I feel like Star Wars needs a reboot or something. How do you go forward with everyone dead in Star Wars? All you have is Rey. Yikes. So two things come to mind because I don't have an answer here. I want my gut reaction is to say no. I don't want a reboot. I don't want a reboot because then they're just going to erase the past, and then the original Star Wars, which is amazing, disappears forever. They're just going to replace it with whatever they make up next, and then they'll just strip everything out of it. What made Star Wars great will be gone forever. I don't want a reboot. I don't want Clone Wars again. I'm sick and tired of the Clone Wars. Don't want it. I'm sick and tired of the era between episode 3 and 4 as well. I don't want that. I want different things. I'm tired of it. I'm also bored with the Mandoverse and where that takes place, right directly after Return of the Jedi. You're gonna make all this content and you don't have Luke Skywalker. I don't want that either. That's not what I want, where Luke is at his peak. So then, well, what do you do? Oh, well, let's reboot it. Okay. I want to throw out a different idea. Star Wars Visions gave us these anime shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them take place in, actually, here's the thing. Each one of them was given to a Japanese anime studio, or I shouldn't say Japanese, given to an anime studio that said, have at it. Make a Star Wars. Go make a Star Wars. You know what? Those were fun. Those were really good. And they got virtually nothing to do with the established movies in canon. They were all their original concepts and ideas. I like that. And I wish that's what the Acolyte was, and that it wasn't a setup into there's a game called Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, which is a turn-based pay-to-play game. You got to pay a lot of money to be able to play that game. or be me and just have an account that you've had for the last 10 years. And so you've just acquired everything from having an account for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole premise of this game is like, oh, all of the characters from all of the movies and all of the different canons are available here for you to use because they're all different stories. And they all exist within the galaxy far, far away, but they don't need to, like, they all exist in their own spheres, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of getting to a point where I wish that they would just do that. I'm getting to a point where I just wish it was all, well, hey, on these 6 movies, that's it. Well, then we have the sequel movies over here. Like, that's also over there. And that's one of the tales of a galaxy far, far away. But the 6 remain untouched. The Clone Wars is integrated, right? And so you start to leave the good stuff alone and start telling new stories. Stop bastardizing and destroying the legacies. Make new ones, forge new ones, give us new characters, separate away from, because they morons, they come out and show us, here's the new Lucasfilm Disney Star Wars timeline. And it's like 100,000 years of time. And you're going to tell me that you're going to trust all these writers to not break that canon? I don't believe you. You know why? Because even in for me, who's a stupid super fan, I messed up the canon doing a review video on the Acolyte. So if I can mess up, and I'm a super fan that's bought in and spent a lot of money on this crap, do I expect some Hollywood writer who knows nothing about it to get it all right? I don't. And I don't trust the story group to get it right either. So what do they do next? They do more of the Star Wars visions. And you start making new stories that exist adjacent to the main canon. You know, you could do a lot of amazing things with that. It's a big galaxy out there. A lot of other things could be happening at the same time that other things are happening that are not mutually exclusive or connected. And be creative. The only way you do that is you be creative. And I don't think they have been creative.
Yeah. I think honestly, and I don't, you and I talk about it all the time, but like we don't like to like push stuff on people, and we don't like to make decisions for people. But creativity, critical thinking, all those things are things that we talk about all the time, right? And that's where, like, on the other channel, Prototopics Learn, we talk about creativity and critical thinking and all those kind of things. We've really tried to take, you know, right now we're talking about it through the lens of Star Wars and the entertainment industry. We try to just figure out ways to get people across the board thinking about how to be more creative in everything that they do. Because it's not just entertainment industry where you can benefit from being creative, but that's what the Creator's Guide was for. That's what Learn Pretend was for. That's, you know, all these different, you know, tabletop role-playing games and lessons to teach creativity to people. That's what it's all for. And
so, actually, while you're here, can you explain to us all what Prototopics Learn is and what our vision is here? Because there is a vision here.
Totally. So Prototopics Learn is really taking what we have from Real Life Fake Wizard and getting the underlying concepts that come into that, or that are talked about there, and figuring out ways to discuss it with other people. We talk about education. We talk about salary. We talk about the implication of a lot of these skills and how they apply to real life, how people learn, what are the different learning styles. There was a video that we had recently on different learning disabilities. Like, they're topics in education that every single person deals with, whether it's like ADHD, whether it's, dyslexia, all of these different things. It's conversations that people should be having about education and insight, and bringing that to people and bringing it to the table for people to talk about. So we've got, videos on here that are going to teach you how certain things work. They're going to also teach you, why different things happen and how they all play into the bigger picture. But, these are concepts that you can take and apply them to all the different conversations we're having here, looking at them through the lens of, everybody's gone through education, a formalized education in one way or another. What did we fall short on in the educational process that will allow us to continue having these kind of conversations in a more productive and proactive way? So along with the channel, we also have the book, The Creator's Guide, which is teaching lessons of creativity for kids. We also have Pretend. And Pretend is the TTRPG, or tabletop role-playing game, that teaches empathy. It's an empathy generator that helps individuals learn how to take their imagination and take it from a theoretical understanding of what this could be and turning it into an applicable storyline where you actually create an emotional connection with these characters, walk them through an adventure, take them on all of these things. So a lot of the points that we've talked about here today have been very real life examples of it. But for, not even just kids, but for people that are going through this kind of like time of, I don't know what to think about this, or I don't know what to think about that. This is just our way of trying to take the underlying applications of what we talk about and explain them to you in a simplified way. A lot of the content there, it's not like you'd see here. It's not a 2-hour, Wizards coffee talk.
Coffee break.
There you go. It's not a 2-hour Wizards coffee break. It's more of a short, digestible. Here's what I talked about. I saw a comment earlier where they said, like, what's a simp, right? I don't know that, and that's okay. That's all right. It's like we want to just teach things to you, and then now that you have a more solid foundation, you use that as your bouncing point to then apply that to education, politics, cooking, interacting with people, all of these different umbrella categories, because you've got the solid foundation. So that's really what this is. Like David had mentioned, these channels are new. I mean, they're 3-4 weeks old. So we can't tell you that there's hundreds and thousands of hours of legacy content that you can watch on there, but we can tell you that our promise is that the content is continuously coming. We're continuously putting out that. I spent so much time. I was supposed to be on vacation. My wife was ready to euthanize me. I was just digesting ways to approach education to teach everybody about the, what's happening and all of that kind of stuff. So I think that's really important. Check it out. Leave us comments on videos that you want to see as well. That's what we're looking for. And I just want to wrap this up by explaining what a simp is. So no, it's okay. Simp is like sympathy. Like, oh, you're very sympathetic to that person. You'll do anything for that individual. So a lot of times it started out where it was like a man to a woman, typically, where like you'll simp for that person. You'll do anything for that person, even when it goes well above and beyond what you should necessarily be doing for that person's attention. So that's it. But again, it's all in the name of education. We're all trying to make it better for you there. So definitely make sure you subscribe to the Prototopics Learn. But honestly, real life fake wizard, this is the place to be. Make sure you're following on Instagram too. There's a lot of good content put on Instagram, a lot of good stuff on YouTube, constantly every single day. It's all in the name of just, entertainment value, making sure that you guys know what's going on and kind of speaking our truth on how we see it.
Can we talk about that for a second before we wrap up?
Sure.
Okay, hold on. That's your definition of simping. The one that's not going to get this stream removed from YouTube, it is, yes, because if you use that term on something like Twitch, which we are streaming to, I mean, they will take your stream down. You're not supposed to use that term at all, which is interesting because it's got some negative connotations to it. So that is the safe for work description, and I approve of it. I want to talk about comments real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been posting on Instagram for a few weeks now, trying to get the Instagram following up. And what's been an interesting discovery, the comments are vile, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like the comments that people drop are absolutely vile. But what's amazing to me is you get people that agree with you. Fine, that's nice. And they're creative. But then you get people that disagree with you and they resort to immediate name calling. And like, that's foolish. It's like, okay, that's the best you've got. That's not even creative. So with some of those people, I've taken now to replying with the truth, which is, I bet you felt really powerful for once in your life writing that out. And what gets even better is the creativity that other people have when they respond to it. The people that agree with you that see this, and just some of the responses that turn into these threads of, I mean, it's awful things that are being said, but in a lot of ways, it's you get a mob of people together who have like-minded ideas, and they get creative, and they just start tearing the other person apart. And on one hand, it's awful because, like we said at the beginning of the stream, we're getting further and further away from having open discussions with people, and more into how do I dominate you, and how do I control your speech. But there is some humor in there. There is some humor in there, and wow, people roast each other in the comments, and it's quite funny if you could look at it with a sense of humor. It is quite funny. But yeah, truly, it's so I don't like the idea of short form content. We're doing it because we have to do it.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have to make shorts ever again, I would never make shorts again.
You'd be okay.
They are so superficial. They're so superficial. The responses you get are people that are just going by these hot takes. And so then they drop their hot takes. And there is no open dialogue. There is no open discussion. It's exactly this. It's a how. I hit the wrong button. Give me my mouse back. It's how do I win? It's how do I win? It's not how do I learn. It's how do I win? How do I destroy you? You said something I don't like. I hate you now. I will make it my mission to comment negatively on everything you post here and henceforth. It's insane. But
yeah.
Anyway, folks, that is going to tie up our coffee break stream today. We went a little over time. We went over the 2-hour mark, so that's a lot of fun. I want to thank all of you for joining us and hanging out here. Wherever you are, whatever platform you're streaming from, we are streaming to a lot of them right now. If you would, please make sure that you are subscribed to us on our YouTube channels. Isaac just showed you Proto Topics Learn. That is over on YouTube. I also invite you to join us over on the YouTube for The Real Life Fake Wizard, where we're posting a lot of stuff all the time. Got the Chewie in the cockpit. So we are resolving everything, and we're going to wrap up today's stream. So I want to thank you so much for hanging out with us on this Sunday. We got a new video for the Acolyte dropping probably first thing tomorrow morning. I still have a little whiles to edit on it. It's a big one. I went through the entire Leslie Headland interview where she gave all of her reasons away for what the show means to her and all of the stupid ass ideas that she had making it. So we got that coming tomorrow morning, and then we'll be back with you for a lot more things this week. I'm going to try and get a gaming stream back in at some point. It's just been really busy lately. Until next time, my friends, create, innovate, inspire. May the contrived thread of destiny be with you, and for the love of God, cancel Disney Plus. Come on.